What's going on, y'all? It is freezing out here this morning. It's 12 degrees up here at my house on top of the mountain. We had a really hard sleet storm come through last night. Y'all can see my driveway here to my shop. That's not snow, it's solid ice. It sleeted yesterday for about probably 10 hours. And I just thought I'd make a video right quick. I've never really gone through what you can do in a shop to help kind of prevent stuff from happening in these kind of conditions, especially when it comes to losing power and possibly water. So I'll go in here and do a quick video, get my heater turned on, and we're gonna get started. All right, well, first thing I would not recommend ever is putting in fluorescent lights. I mean, that seems kind of obvious this day and time because we've got LEDs, which they were not available whenever I built this shop, aside from, you know, some little stuff you could put in your vehicle, in your house. But you can see, like this light in here, I mean, it won't even come on yet. It's still freezing cold. You see how dark it is in my shop right now. My phone's barely picking up enough light to be able to even see. That light right there hasn't come on yet. But I do have my heater turned on, so hopefully it'll warm up in here in a minute. Some of these lights will start to come on. But guys, one of the first things I wanted to show y'all, this right here. That's a 6,500 watt Generac generator. Me and Christy went and picked that up last week because we knew this storm was coming. And if you're going to run a shop, y'all can see all of this right here. See all these racks? All of that. I mean, this was just from this year. And you can imagine the complete disaster it would be if I lost all these capes. I've got 3 deep freezes down here, and all 3 of them are full to the lid with capes. And, you know, with it this cold, you'd think, well, the freezers aren't going to thaw out. Well, I mean, my shop is very heavily insulated, and freezers, if they're not on, they're going to thaw, even with the way it is in here. I don't know how cold it is in here right now, but it's not, you know, it's not below freezing. And not just that, but I run a dehumidifier, and the dehumidifier puts off a little bit of heat. So, you know, it's tolerable in here. You can take hides outside. If you've got a place you can keep them, you could pile them up somewhere where they'd be, you know, cold enough outside in these kind of conditions, but you can't put them where you're going to have predators get to them because even frozen, I mean, you leave capes like that out overnight, and coyotes are liable to take them things, just throw them halfway across the entire county. But it's just not a good idea. If you ever decide to open up a shop and you start taking numbers like this, where you've got to have multiple freezers and you've got to have, you know, capes stored for any kind of length of time, I would highly suggest getting a generator just in case something happens. Since I started my shop, there's been 2 different times where I had to borrow generators to run my freezers. But back then, I wasn't doing enough deer to where I had to have multiple freezers. I had 3 or 4 different freezers, but I was doing deer processing, and the turnaround on that was really fast. People were coming picking that stuff up, and I didn't keep a lot of meat here at a time. Whereas with the taxidermy, as I started getting all those capes in, well, I would put them in different freezers. They wouldn't necessarily be completely full because that way I could find what capes I needed a little bit easier. But if the power went out, I could just pile them all into one of my big freezers and then run a generator on that one freezer and keep them frozen. But I mean, like right now, if the power went out, I mean, I would have to run these 3 freezers. There's nobody that I know that would be able to store all this stuff for me. And most places would probably also have lost power locally. Anyway, if you could even get out of the house. It's so slick out there right now. The county's got all the roads closed, interstates closed, and everything else. So, also, back to the dehumidifier. The dehumidifier that I use is probably about $275. This is it right here. It's a Perfect Air. Just a little small generator. I'm sorry, dehumidifier. And like I said, it does give off a little bit of heat. So you can run that thing when it's really cold like this, and it's going to heat just enough to where it will keep your water from freezing and stuff like that inside too. Now, on the water situation, if you ever decide to build a shop, I have my water coming in just below this sink right here. And when I poured this concrete slab, what I did, I've got my water line outside. It's probably close to 2 feet deep underground. And it goes down the side of my slab, and then it turns, and I put in a big pipe, about a 3-inch PVC pipe going through my concrete, stubbed it in and coming out about 2 foot underground. And my water line goes down, goes through that pipe and up into the floor of my shop. So there is actually no exposure to that pipe to the outside. And everything that is exposed is in this room, which like I said, is going to stay above freezing. Probably above, I would say, probably above 50 to 55 degrees. There again, I don't know how cold it is in here right now, but it's not, you know, like terrible. I mean, it's probably 50, 55 right now in here. So I guess last but not least would be obviously a heat source. You know, when it's 12 degrees, you need to get a deer mounted. I've already got one thawed out sitting over there on the table, and really need to do it today. So all I've got is this old 3-brick heater, and they've got a bunch of newer versions. You know, they've got 5 brick, 6 brick. You get a lot bigger heater than this. And I'll be upgrading eventually. Usually, I'm in Alabama. I'm in North Alabama, so it's a little bit colder here than South Alabama. But typically, we have temperatures between like 25 and 40, you know, in the wintertime. So it's not horrible. It just needs to be warm in here to not just stay comfortable, but for the deer to be able to dry, the glue to be able to act correctly and all that good stuff. You know, you don't want to have a situation where everything is too cold or it won't work right. Paint, tanning oil, stuff like that has got to be warm. So electric heaters work great too, but there again, they do require power. So there has been a couple of times that I've been down here working in the past when we did lose power, where I can turn my heater on, I can come in here and turn a light on, just like a battery-powered lantern or something, and I can do a little bit of work. You may not be able to mount an entire deer head, but, I mean, there's days that stuff needs to be checked. You may have to cape a deer. You may have to just touch up one or work in some details. I just hate to skip a day in my shop unless it is a scheduled, planned day where I know that nothing needs to be attended to. You just don't want somebody's stuff to go by the wayside, you know, because of Mother Nature when it can be prevented. So anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all coming along. Just thought I would share some of this information because it's something that we never, ever think about until it's too late. And fortunately, Christy's the one that actually brought up the generator because we had to use one in the past under, you know, current similar circumstances. My light just came on. So it's starting to warm up in here just a little bit. But yeah, we decided that this year with all the freezers that we've got and as many capes as we've got now, with that weather coming in, you just can't, I wouldn't be able to run it with one generator. And that, at least with a small generator like I used before, that one right there will run just about an entire house as long as you don't just turn on every single thing. It's a 6,500 watt. It's got, I think it's got 4 outlets, 110s, and it's got a 220. So it'll do everything that I need it to do down here anyway, if the situation arises. But anyway, guys, I ain't gonna keep y'all no more. Appreciate y'all coming along with me this morning. I'm gonna get some work done. Y'all have a blessed day. We'll see y'all in the next video.